Okay, I'd like to show you a quick introduction to a program called PCB Wizard 3. This is a program that will allow us to make printed circuit board layouts of the projects we're making in class. Let's get right into it. There's a couple of ways to launch the program. We can either left click on the icon on the desktop here, the shortcut, or if that wasn't available, we could go down to the start menu, go to all programs, and navigate our way to the program that way. Either way works. I'm just going to double click on the shortcut. Program opens up, a couple of windows open up, and when the getting started window opens, we can just close that window. We can also close the component gallery, and I'd like you to left click right on this icon here to maximize our workspace. This is our work environment. This is where we're going to be working. But before we start creating anything, I'd like you to save your workspace. So I'm going to go File, I'm going to go Save. Probably the most important thing about saving is knowing where you saved it. I often have students come to me and say, I know I saved it, Mr. Ingram, but I can't find it. I don't know where it is. That's because when they were saving it, they weren't paying attention to what file or what location it was saving in. This is the spot where you have to pay attention to. And don't just assume that the computer will know where you want to save it. It could be default to set up to network, or it could be default to set up to libraries or somewhere else. And if you just give it a name and hit save, you're never going to find it. So in this instance, we want to use the school server because everyone has a spot on the server for it. You know you're in the right spot because it'll be your first initial, last name, followed by a couple of backslashes and then some school letters, SJSD, stuff like that. So this is where we want to save it. This is also a good time to give it a name. I'm just going to call it test and click save. Okay, so by the time you get to this stage, you have already breadboarded your circuit, you've tested it, you know it works, you have either created your own circuit board layout on a piece of paper or you're following the layout that the teacher has given you. Either way, you have it in front of you and you're going to reproduce it using this program. And it's really quite simple. There's only two tools we're going to use or going to need to use in this program. And the two tools are the pad tool up here at the top and the track tool. And I normally start with the pad tool, and it's important that you set both these tools up before you start using them. So I'm just going to double click, left click on this icon, and a pad property window comes up. And we're just going to change a couple of these settings. Width to 0.2, height to 0.2, and hole size to 0. And click OK. And then what I normally do, you can see my cursor has changed from a mouse pointer to like a set of crosshairs, green crosshairs. I normally just sort of stockpile these pads over on the left here. If I don't have enough, I can come back. If I have too many, I can delete them. It doesn't really matter. They're just here. You'll notice my mouse is still waiting for me to click again to put another one. If I don't want to add any more pads to the workspace, all I need to do is right click and you'll see my mouse pointer is back. The crosshairs are gone. I want to come up to the track icon now and double click on it to open up its properties window, and I want to change that to 0.9 and click OK. And now all we're going to do is we're going to reproduce the drawing that we have in front of us. And I'm just going to start drawing anywhere. It really doesn't matter. There. I'm looking at something, so I'm not just I'm trying to reproduce what's in front of me. You'll notice that my cursor is showing me a trace line of where it's going to draw the next line if I want to. I don't want to draw anymore. I'm going to right click, and now I can come back and add something in here, something like this. I don't want to add any more there. I right click again. There. So anytime you want to stop drawing a track, you just right click. You're still in track mode, but it'll allow you to start again. There. Okay, there. Okay. Oh, I got one more. Something like this. There. Okay, so that's basically what my circuit looks like. Now you'll notice my cursor, my crosshairs are waiting for me to, I'm still in track mode here. If I don't want to draw anymore, I just right click and I'm back to my mouse pointer. I can now come over and click on these pads that I stockpiled earlier, and I can just drag them into the location that I want them. How do I know where to put them? Well, I'm just following my diagram that I've already drawn these on, and I'm looking at my drawing in front of me, and I've already got the parts labeled, so I know what parts are going into each pad. Just like the way we taught it in class. And just about done here. The pads kind of snap to the grid in the background, which is kind of nice. You can put it wherever. Okay. All right, so you can see I made a couple too many pads. Not a big deal. I'm just going to left click and drag a square around them, select them, and then go up to edit, delete. Simple. All right, now if I wanted to, I could zoom in with my scroll ball on my mouse and just double check and make sure everything's lined up. Normally parts are lined up either vertically or horizontally, so, and the grid pattern allows you to do that really nicely. You can see this isn't quite straight yet, and that would be lined up with that. Oh, actually, no, that would be, let's do this. There, I need one more pad. I need one more pad. There we go. This one is for a resistor, this is for a capacitor, that's for another resistor. I don't need that one there. There we go. Okay, good. So I'm all good to go. It's, you know, the only thing is I don't really know what size it is right now. It looks just like what I have drawn on my paper, but I don't know physically what size it is. And your teacher may or may not have given you the size of the copper. In this case, ask your teacher. They'll probably give you a size to work like a limit to. And in this case, it was 3 inches by 2 inches. So without printing it right now on a piece of paper, I have really no way of knowing, except for these plus signs in the background here. You can see them when I zoom in. Those are 1 inch apart. So that's kind of like an on-screen ruler. And you can see here that I'm over 3 inches, right? That's 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, and almost, you know, getting close to 4. And it looks like I'm over 2 inches as well. So the easiest way would be to fix it right now. And I'll show you how easy that is. I'm just going to select this line here, and I'm going to bring it a little closer. Bring that down. And I can probably bring this up. What do I want to do here? There we go. And I just want to move these up. You can see how easy it is to kind of reposition things. Whoop. There we go. And you can see how easy it is to keep stuff on the grid line. That looks pretty good. And if you're still not sure if you're within the size, all I'm going to do now is I just dragged a rectangle around everything to select it. And when I move my mouse close to one of these pads, my mouse changes from a pointer to a 4-pointed arrow. And when it's a 4-pointed arrow, I can click and drag it anywhere. And now I can kind of line it up right on the corner of a plus sign. So I can kind of see I'm within 2 inches here. I'm within 2 plus signs. So that means I'm under 2 inches, but it looks like I'm still over 3 inches. So I need to kind of tighten some stuff up. And I'm just going to bring this over here. Whoop. And bring that back. There. So now I think I'm right around the 3 inch by 2 inch mark. I'm within the specifications for the piece of copper. It's now time to print your circuit board. So I'm going to go File, Print Artwork. And you want to make sure that a printer is selected. Printing to a PDF or Adobe PDF won't help us really in this case. So you want to select the printer in the room. In this case, it's room 119. And you always want to check the properties. You want to make sure that we're going to dump enough ink or toner onto the page, because that'll make a good heavy imprint of the circuit on the copper. So I want to change this from 600 to 1200, and I also want to turn off econo mode here. And it's a good habit to check these settings every time you print, because sometimes even though you've set them, they won't stick. So I'm going to hit print OK, and oh, we got an error message. And you may not get an error message, and I'll show you why you did get one. All it means is that one of the objects are outside the printing area. Not a big deal. I'm going to cancel right now, and I'm going to show you why it's outside. I'm going to go to View, Page Layout View, and I'm just going to, there's nothing on a page, nothing on this page here. I'm going to scroll out, and you'll see that I drew this whole circuit off the page completely. I didn't know I was off the page because I was working on the space that was in front of me. But all we need to do is select it, zoom in a little bit, and when I move my mouse close to one edge, my mouse or my pointer should change to a 4-pointed arrow. When it's that 4-pointed arrow, I can left click and drag, and I can put it back on the page here. Now it'll print properly. And once you've had this printed and you've showed your teacher is now going to tell you to copy and paste as many of these circuits on this page as you can. The reason for that is we want to maximize the amount of circuits we get out of one piece of acetate, because we're eventually going to print it onto a clear piece of film, kind of like overhead material, and that's going to be the medium that we transferred onto the copper with. So easiest way to do that is to go edit, we want to select it, get everything selected. Now we're going to go edit, copy, we're going to left click to unselect, and we're just going to go edit paste. If you're familiar with the keyboard shortcuts, you can just use Control V, and you can see I can just do this as many times as I need to, and it looks like I could probably get probably 6 more on here. So you're probably thinking, oh, it's pretty easy, I'll just do this 6 more times. There's actually an easier way. I'm going to select everything and go edit paste and bring, whoop, sorry. I'm going to go select everything, have everything selected, and go copy, select off it, go edit paste, and bring it in 3 times. And I'm just working more efficiently now, right? Didn't take as long. Edit paste again, and click OK. Print it out once more on paper just to make sure everything's lined up and printing properly, and then ask your teacher for a piece of overhead material or acetate, and that's it. The next video will show you how to get it onto the copper. Hope you've enjoyed watching this tutorial and learned something about printed circuit board layout. Thanks for watching.